It's a pretty impressive countdown. What's that? Andrea, do you want to start, or are we still waiting on something?
No, we're live, Scott. You are the MC. Take us away.
Okay, welcome to the ACA live stream series. This is the second in a series of live stream panel discussions being sponsored by the ACA Board of Directors. Tonight, we are speaking with the Regional Activity Council, which just celebrated its first birthday, so we probably should have a cake. My name is Scott Fisher. I'm the owner of the Nolichucky Outdoor Learning Institute in Northeast Tennessee. I'm also a Whitewater Kayak and Swiftwater Rescue IT. With us tonight, we have three special guests, all RAC leaders. We have Andrea White, Ryan Pepper, and Brandon Nelson. Andrew, would you like to start, do some brief intros?
Oh, sure. Yeah, guys, I'm the chair of the RAC Council. I came up through the ranks as a state director myself and an instructor. And just excited that we're celebrating this birthday of the RAC and have this opportunity to talk to the membership and the paddling leaders out there about all the things we're trying to do to connect our paddling communities. I think it's going to be really exciting.
Awesome. Thank you. Ryan?
I spent 5 years as the Ohio State director for the ACA and got involved with the RAC about 1.5 years ago. Love all types of paddling, open water, Lake Erie, Great Lakes is where you'll typically find me, and do some whitewater and some odds and ends other paddling.
All right. Sounds great. Brendan?
I think, I heard the call to leadership by seeing that there was no one that signed up to be the deputy director of California. And I was like, I'll just write in my name. And then I get this call from Kelsey saying, do you want it? I'm like, sure. So then I dove in and just tried to put in my time and help and do what I could. And that kept on going. And here I am. So I'm hoping that there's others out there that will also answer that call to leadership and get involved, because we need your help. We need your voice.
Yeah, that's great. And that's part of why we're here, right? To put out that call. So very good. So we're here tonight because we're excited to tell the RAC story. A lot of ACA members don't know what the RAC does, and these fine individuals here are going to walk us through that and kind of tell that story. We think it's great that the board has created this opportunity for engagement between ACA members and leadership. So this is exactly the type of discourse or idea sharing that we want. And as we go, if you have any comments or questions, you're going to see a icon there that you can select on the right and go ahead and put in those questions, and we'll do our best to get to those questions. And then at the end, there will be some dedicated Q&A time as well. So with that being said, let's go ahead and jump into it. And first question is for Andrea. The question is, so what is the Regional Activity Council and how did it come about?
Yeah, well, I mean, just in full disclosure, I mean, everybody has been, I mean, folks have been here a long time know we have divisions that used to be in a regional structure, and that sort of fell by the wayside. It kind of wasn't working very well for the organization. That was long before my time. So I'm repeating oral history now rather than speaking from experience. And then we had the state director program where we had sort of state and local regional ACA leadership. But it was a program that was funded by Subaru. It was a program that was staff led. And when we lost the Subaru funding, and staff is got very limited bandwidth for this organization with many arms and many activities serving many different kinds of paddlers. And it got to a point where there just really wasn't the momentum to be able to serve our grassroots paddlers in that way effectively anymore. And there kind of came to a moment where Robin and Beth came to a few of us in the state, we're kind of the last few standing in the state director program, and said, how could we revitalize this? And what you're seeing now is the outgrowth of several years of that work, that work among ACA leaders that to figure out how we could revitalize this. How could we revamp it? How could we build it on a model that we know works in the ACA? We literally looked at a model of the Instructors Council that is volunteer led, that has committees, You guys are familiar with how discipline committees work. Is on the SEIC Council, and they work at the national level to represent instruction and curriculum. We just did the same thing, and we did it by regions instead of by disciplines. So a region has a number of state directors and state level volunteers, and they roll up to a regional chair. Those regional chairs serve on a national level council. We've got this volunteer-led model. I mean, that's kind of the genesis of what we're trying to do. Ryan, you kind of have some of the institutional memory. Can you kind of give your perspective on it?
Yeah, I mean, the state director program was created exactly as you said. It was outreach originally to all levels of the ACA. But being staff led, the staff, when we started, I don't know what it was now, 15 years ago, whatever it was, I was in the first group of state directors. You were transitioning from the divisions to state directors. There were people that did not like that. There was a lot of arguments there, so there wasn't full support yet. Over the first couple years, it actually was working pretty well. But as it started to grow, you could quickly see, and Andrea said it well, when we lost certain amounts of funding, it was very hard for staff to keep up with it. You basically had one full-time staff member fully assigned to the program. And what we've tried to do in this volunteer program is spread the workload out over many people, as many as possible, to make this program work, because it does work. We proved that from a very early on stage. It does help in the grassroots efforts, and it just needs to be supported, and there isn't enough staff to do that. So by creating the RAC Council, we're creating a support system for all of us. And that's essentially what the RAC is there to do. It's a support system for all of the ACA.
Yeah, and the grassroots. I mean, that is the very definition of cats pointed all the different directions, right? It's every type of paddler in every type of community on every type of water. So, we're trying to support the ACA mission at a state and local level with the grassroots paddlers, and also give those paddlers, those recreational paddlers and the clubs and the grassroots in general, a voice all the way up to the board of directors. As the chair of the RAC, I sit and represent those folks, that part of our membership on the board of directors, in the same way that Anna represents the Instructors Council. So the state directors have been elected to a 2-year term, and the regional chairs are there to support the state directors and the state level volunteers. Brendan, can you speak more to kind of what we're doing with clubs? Because that is kind of new and different compared to what we've done in the past.
Yeah, there's a new outreach in that we want to have a voice and hear from Paddle America clubs, because this is the grassroots arm of the ACA. And so through this PAC Council, we want to get a group together of people just representing their club and hear their concerns and work on issues. In fact, I mean, this is one of the things I really like about the RC is just this grassroots idea and influencing policy of what's going on with ACA and policy that's happening to impact Paddle America clubs. And now they can say something about it and try to make things better. And one of the things I think that, number one, every PAC is going to be concerned about is insurance. And I would love to make that our number one concern and get everybody together to hear what they have to say about that.
Okay, thanks everybody for that. So the second question we have then, and we're going to lead off with Andrea for this one as well. What is the focus of the RAC's work? You're on. I think you're on mute, Andrea.
I was trying to address some feedback. We have the same mission as the ACA as a whole, but the venue where we operate is the grassroots level, the state and local level. So we're still trying to support paddling instruction. We're still trying to support competition. We're still trying to support stewardship and public policy. We're still trying to support diversity and inclusion, and we're still trying to support recreation. Right? Those are the 5 tenets of our mission in the ACA. And what we're trying to do is to give that arms and legs and leadership and a leadership track at the grassroots level, at the state and local level. So that means we're not going to go, change the curriculum, but we are going to help connect the dots for people in our region so that they can make use of and leverage what's already happening in SEIC, that they can find the right program, that they can find the right IT, that they can put together critical mass for a class when they need adaptive paddling skills or whatever they need, being able to put the critical mass and resources together to help them be successful with that. We look forward to being able to do the same kind of thing in community-based competition or public policy initiatives to get a law passed in a state that will affect paddlers. We want to be the connections, connections between our paddling communities at the state and local level. Ryan, you've been doing some work with the Competition Council. Do you want to maybe give a couple of examples of the kinds of things you're trying to put in place?
Yeah, actually, a great one just happened today. Been talking to the new Ocean Kayaking Committee chair, helping him connect dots between different organizations, different regions, because I've been involved with the ACA at a semi-high level for a long time. I've gotten connected to a lot of paddlers. So it was kind of like, hey, do this. Hey, here's the person to contact here. Well, today he's been trying to find a Midwest Great Lakes open water competition, and he emailed me just this afternoon. I had him check with a couple people. He got back. All of a sudden, oh, wow, we have a competition on the Great Lakes I never knew about that was not on their radar. And they're going, hey, wow, how can we? Now they're looking at, they'll start communicating directly, not through us. We just help connect the dots to say, hey, there's people interested in this all across this country. You just have to know where to go look. And if you don't know where to look, that's where they come to us. And they go, where do I go look? And our job is to try to connect those dots. It's pretty much that simple.
Yeah, we did a similar thing in Georgia. My employer is a Paddle America Club. And when the World Championships for freestyle kayaking were in Columbus, Georgia, just here in October, we were able to help spread the word about that story and to tell the rest of the paddling community why that's so special. And even solicit a link for volunteers, for folks who wanted to come volunteer and help out at the competition and be a part of the fun. Some legislative examples I know that have happened so far in Washington State and in Tennessee and in Georgia. In Tennessee, we've helped, the paddling clubs have signed on and sent a bunch of emails and helped with a couple of different bills to get state scenic river protection for different rivers. In Washington State, they've had a couple of different bills the last 2 years where ACA leaders and other paddling leaders have gone to testify to their House of Representatives and their Senate about different bills that were going to require mandatory education or mandatory licensing. And we've been able to kind of help to rally the troops for that kind of an initiative. And right now there's an issue in Georgia that's kind of percolating about, are they going to declare certain rivers, navigable versus non-navigable? And is that going to have some unintended consequences on paddlers? We're hoping that that's going to be like a 2-year conversation rather than a quick bill in a legislature. But we're rallying the troops and we're on the scene trying to make sure that all the right paddling leaders are part of that conversation. So it's the connecting, though. I mean, that's kind of that's our role. Our role is not to be the specialist at any of these things. It's to connect the people that can do it so that the paddlers have a voice.
Okay, great. Yeah, thank you. That was great. Okay, third question, and this goes to Brendan for start. Can you tell us some of the things that the RAC has accomplished so far?
Sure. As far as PAC, since that's what I'm speaking to, we now have the new benefit of Club Express. which is a platform that will host a club's website, and it comes with a ton of functionality that really will help the club as far as keeping track of members, posting events, registering events. You can also have a storefront on it. It's going to give everyone a leg up on having their own website for their club, and hopefully save them money and add functionality and more communication and community to their club is what we're hoping. So that's something that we enjoyed and got done.
Yeah, guys, let's not rush past that. This is the first time in a really long time the ACA's had a new member benefit for Paddle America clubs. So if a club needs a solution for their website needs, their document management, their online transactions, all of that, their community and membership database and communications, you now have an opt-in opportunity to do this at nationally preferred pricing. You don't have to do it, but if you need that, it's open to you because you're an ACA Paddle America club.
Yes, and it's well, I think one of the concerns I've heard is the ACA going to be tracking or getting my data? That's completely separate. We don't have access to that. No one has access to that except for your club, which is great. It's completely separate from the ACA. It's only a benefit for Paddle America clubs, which one of the things I love that I want to work towards is making Paddle America clubs not just about insurance, but having other benefits. And also by having this PAC council, not only can we work on finding solutions for PACs, but also I think the more that Paddle America clubs talk to each other, some of the concerns in one PAC might be having might actually be solved or be helped by another PAC, and they can help each other. I feel like a lot of times people have these clubs and they feel isolated. So this is another way to actually feel part of the community. And again, when you're part of a community, you can have your voice heard, and that's what the grassroots is all about. So that please contact me if you have a representative or leader that wants to be part of that PAC council. My email is, I think, in the chat, and I'm going to be putting together a date to start the PAC council and also work on that insurance issue.
Yeah, Brendan, I think your predecessor from years past and models past, Mike Schillinger, is put a question in the chat about that repository that we had put together of resources from clubs, and you want to give him an update on that?
I still have it. In fact, I pulled all the things together, so I have a little packet. So when I'm emailed, I just send it to people, which is great. And they've actually had different questions, especially about like what kind of nonprofit 501c they're going to be. So I've sent that to them. So yeah, it just, again, I can only be a resource if someone needs the resource. So hopefully one of the things that's great about this live stream is the more we get the word out that there's information and people out there that want to help, but also listen to issues that are going on and may be able to do something about it or point you to the person that can, that is a huge leg up. So again, I'm happy with what we've done, and I'm really happy about putting together this PAC council so that we can start some upward mobility of PAC concerns.
Yeah, and guys, just to dispel the abbreviation jargon, we've got the RAC, the RAC, the Regional Activity Council, and then we've got PACs, Paddle America clubs, and what Brendan keeps talking to, and he's so into it that he kind of skipped past the definition. We're trying to assemble a PAC council of club leaders, of experienced club leaders, and if it doesn't exist yet. And if you would like to be one of those experienced club leaders that comes in and helps us put that together so that we can have a more cohesive voice for clubs, reach out to Brendan.
It's going to happen.
Okay.
For the first year to have been able to come up with that new member benefit for clubs, we thought that was a really great outcome for a first year of a brand new council, some brand new arm of the ACA. One of the other things we've been working on, and Scott, you're intimately familiar with this, the National Safe Boating Week partnerships that we've been doing with certain state agencies. In Tennessee and North Carolina for the last 2 years, we've been partnering with the state agencies and bringing all of our community-based ACA instructors to bear to teach a day of training to kick off National Safe Boating Week. And have just had phenomenal results. It's become an award-winning event in both states where we've held it. It's been so energizing for our instructors and our clubs and our leaders in the community, and kind of given them a speed dial for all of the people that really care about paddle sports education in their neck of the woods that maybe they weren't working with before. Believe it or not, we have helped connect some dots. And now we're actually looking at the opportunity to do that same event in more states. Next year, it looks like South Carolina is going to come on board. And fingers crossed, I got a couple other states that we still have our proposal pending. They haven't said yes or no yet. And I feel, I hesitate to put the rose-colored glasses on, but I really think they're going to say yes.
Yeah, the Tennessee rollout has been great, Andrea, and seeing you connecting the dots with the statewide clubs as well as the different organizations like us. It's been very, very productive, very good in terms of partnerships, but also in terms of getting paddling education out there. Really the entry level, right? This is largely flat water paddling oriented, although we do whitewater as well, statewide, as you know. But yeah, I mean, I think it's really a very good example of how the type of work that the RAC can do with the right leadership.
Well, and in North Carolina, they were able to partner really effectively with the Coast Guard Auxiliary, so that at every class, they not only had experienced ACA instructors, they had a park ranger and a wildlife officer and a Coast Guard auxiliarist. And can you imagine having more of an aura of authority with these folks that are just buying their very first boat from Dick's or Academy? You know, it's a real meaningful opportunity to get them a day of training that can be life-changing, that can turn them into lifelong paddlers who now have a community of people they know who to go to with their questions and to paddle with and join trips. It's been really meaningful. We actually got some data from the Tennessee event that proved that somewhere in the neighborhood of 90% of the people who signed up last year were either had no experience paddling or just were very beginners, like a year or less. And so we're hitting exactly the target market that, we really need to be hitting.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's clear from the feedback from these folks that have participated how much they value that type of exposure and that type of training. So
that's right. Okay.
Uh,
Ryan, can you speak to the instructor contest real quick? And then I know we've got some good questions that I want to get to in that are meaty, but I don't want to skip over the instructor contest.
Yeah, as far as the instructor contest, it was started 3 years ago. I don't remember exactly. I originally thought it was kind of not worth the time myself, but I've been amazingly surprised at how many instructors out there that are L1s, L2s have entered this contest to basically see who puts as many people in classes to teach them grassroots level type paddling, who does the most. And we've had a lot of awards. The second year, I think it was in Ohio, which made me all happy. Last year, they kind of got spread out all across the country because more and more people are getting involved in entering these contests. And these instructors are really proud of it, and they should be. But it's finally giving them recognition for all their work, not necessarily for the parks department they work for or whoever it is that they're doing all these classes. Usually it's parks or universities. They're actually getting recognition for it from the ACA as an ACA member, which is adding to what the ACA offers its membership. We've been able to do these things. We just never did them. Now we're doing it. And that's kind of the point of the RAC as part of the ACA, is to offer additional benefits to all of our members.
Yep. And you guys will hear more about this coming up soon. We don't have a lot of details to give yet, but the RAC has partnered with SEIC and the board of directors on some upcoming regional events to try to help with some level 1 and level 2 instructor updates. So stay tuned. We don't have any details to give out today, but it's coming. It's coming. It's in the works.
Okay, great. And I think we have one more question, and we're going to put this to Ryan. How can people get involved?
That's actually not hard. We have lots of ways to get involved. Not all the states have a state director. I think we have 12, 13 states that currently don't have a state director, which we are actively recruiting people to take those positions. Every state director has a council. They're really not limited to how many people are on their council. Depending on the state, depends on how many people end up on someone's council and how hard that state director pursues people. So you do have to ask a lot of times if you want people to volunteer, hey, here's what's out there. But anybody listening that wants to get involved, if their state doesn't have a current state director, you contact one of us. If you do have a state director and you say, hey, I wouldn't mind serving on the state council, you can get the state director's email address straight off the ACA website. It's not hard to get involved, and we encourage it. We want it. We want to hear from as many people as possible. All of our meetings are open. If you just want to come and listen to a meeting, send one of us an email. We'll forward the invite. We're not hiding anything from anybody. We're pretty open. We definitely encourage more members to get involved, and we're finding it not as fast as I think we'd like, but it's now starting to really take off. We're seeing more volunteers look at these positions available, saying, "Yeah, I'll come help out. Let me see what this is all about." And that's been more recently. The first period of time, I was definitely disappointed we didn't get more people, but now that they're seeing things happen,
Yeah.
I think the interest is going up quickly.
Well,
We're getting.
And this organization's 142 years old. This is a big ship with a little rudder, and we've just put a big change. So, I mean, let's give everybody, and I don't mean just the folks on the screen. I mean, everybody that's helped pull off this new change in our bylaws, the credit. This is a grassroots arm of this organization that has the potential to be very powerful. But we're going to grow it a little at a time, and we're gonna figure it out. And there's as many people as who paddle. There's as many different things that motivate them that they are passionate about, right? So when you're operating at the state and local level, you have the opportunity to get involved in the activities at the state and local level for the ACA that tap into your passions. So if there's a specific thing you want to work on, come talk to your state director, and let's figure out how you can help the state council with the things that you're interested in. If you're the kind of person who's really good at connecting all the different groups, maybe you were the person that was never in one clique in high school. You kind of like rode the edges of all of them. You're the connector person. That's a good state director. That's somebody who can help connect all the dots among all the different paddling communities and know who to call when something's coming up in a group so that we can join forces on something meaningful. Casey, I know you're on top of it and you've been putting all this stuff in the chat. Let's make sure that link for the Regional Activity Council is there so everybody can find their state director and find their regional chair, and know exactly who to email and have the link right there in front of them to email them with their questions and their thoughts and their passions and things they want to get involved in. And with that, I know Kim and Mike have been asking questions in the chat that are the meaty. It's a big part of what we hear from our club leaders. Guys, we need to talk about the club insurance. Casey, can you maybe put Kim's question up there? And we'll just sort of play off of that. You can just leave it up there for a minute. Kim Abney. There we go. We know, because we have all come up through the ranks working with clubs. We know that what has happened with the way that ACA insurance is administered with the Paddle America clubs is really fragmented from an administrative perspective and is difficult for an all-volunteer organization to administer. It has a lot of challenges, a lot of questions associated with it, and that there are a lot of clubs who are trying to find something that is going to cover their members so that they know that they have good insurance, and that they know that they can administer it, that they're not going to miss anything in a fractured administrative process, because they don't want to miss dotting an I and it make a difference in somebody's claim, right? So it's something that we're continuing to talk about. The fact that it's top of mind for you guys is really meaningful. That says a lot. That says a lot. Brendan, would you like to speak to this at all? I know it's one of the issues that's kind of on your radar for when this PAC Council gets together. It sounds like you got some people out there that might be interested in coming to talk to your PAC Council.
I'm excited about that. I think, one of the things that concerns people is, one, of course, how much time it's going to take to do the insurance and all the forms, and then how easy is it going to be. But there's also that aspect of how much it costs for non-members and the $10. And a lot of times, a lot of funding for events are they don't know how many people are going to come. And now it's being expanded, that $10 limit. So that's something to look at. I think it's very important. I think as far as ease and time for people that are volunteering their time to be on the water and now expect to do all this time off of the water to shuffle paperwork, we've got to find a way of making it easier. And I think that's one of the number one concerns, which is why I'm glad it's being brought up and why I brought it up today.
Yeah. One of the big opportunities that we have, you guys, historically at the ACA, the only leadership track we had was an instructor ITE track. If you wanted to be a leader, that was the only track that was available to you. And part of what we're trying to do is to develop a different leadership track. If you are a leader in your club, if you are a leader in your community, if you are a leader in your state, this is a leadership track where you can grow in a different way and do something really meaningful for your paddling community. And I hope that we have a lot of folks that will step up and help us do that in a lot of different ways. But this PAC Council, that's an opportunity, y'all. That's an opportunity. I think we lost our moderator, Ryan.
I think we did too. Hey, I did see someone was asking what the instructor contest was.
Oh, say more.
Basically, instructors that are doing a lot of L1, L2 classes can submit their classes of numbers of people that they have trained in basically level 1, minor level 2 paddling. And the people that do the most over the course of a year's time frame, I don't know if it's a full year, it's more like about 8 months, isn't it?
I think we made it this last year. It was, I can't remember, we started in January, February, but it went up until like October.
I was gonna say October is when it ended.
Yeah.
But you can submit whenever you do a class to say how many people you've actually ran through a ACA class as an ACA instructor. And at the end of the contest, the people that have done the most win prizes. They're nothing spectacular, but it is a really nice way to recognize instructors who are out there teaching ACA classes and doing it regularly. I've been shocked at the participation. It's been nationally. It's been really cool.
It's been international. We got some international winners last time.
We did, didn't we? Yeah, we did. That was cool. Seeing some of that.
Hey, Scott, maybe instead of listening to us talk for the next few minutes, maybe you can kind of give a little bit of an IT perspective. You have interacted integrally I mean, you and I worked really closely when I was a state director. I mean, I sent a bunch of critical mass of instructor candidates to you for different classes. We worked with media to get messages about water safety and out to the media and different ways to get stories covered. We worked with bills that we were trying to get through the state legislature and testimony that we were giving. We joined forces on this National Safe Boating Week event, where we kind of brought lots of different stakeholders and leaders across the state together. From your perspective, where do you see this opportunity for these state and local leaders from an IT's point of view?
Yeah, well, the great thing, this position is kind of like, I guess, the VP of the United States. You can do as much or as little as you want with it, right?
Yes.
So a good state director, I mean, will really, and you're a good model for it, frankly. I mean, in terms of what this position can do, in terms of linking all these disparate people, organizations, ITs, state parks, legislature, you name it. A good state director will really be proactive with that. I would say that in the last few years, the amount of dialogue, idea sharing, and communication among all these disparate groups has been better than it's ever been. And that's in large part because of the work that you've done. But you and I both know that took some effort, didn't it? It took some work. So a good people that get involved with this really should have a passion for the ACA and for the work that we're all trying to do, and be willing to put some effort behind that too, because it's not always easy, as you and I know, and half the time you feel like you're herding cats. But if you believe in what we're trying to do, then it's worth the effort, and it certainly pays off in the end.
Yeah, I try to tell, in the role that I serve as Southeastern Regional Chair, I met tonight with my state directors in my region, and everybody, I mean, gosh, if y'all are following the news at all, you know the story of the tweet that Elmo put out there the other day asking how everybody's doing, and he got like 180 million views and thousands of comments of people who aren't doing well. I mean, I think volunteers across every organization are feeling the weight of responsibility right now, and our own lives are stressful, and volunteers everywhere struggle to find the right balance, right? But to your point, Scott, this job can be what you need it to be to fit the space you have to give it. When I was working the night shift and 12-hour shifts, I was really big at social media and creating a channel of information to share this clearinghouse of information, because that's what I had at my fingertips that I could do that fit into my life, right? But when I started getting more out on the water and teaching more often, it shifted. What I was ready to give in the way that it fit into my personal life shifted. It can shift with what's going on in your life. And I think that makes it a unique volunteer opportunity at the ACA, that you really have the opportunity to build a really solid network of this amazing community, and build leadership skills, but it can also adapt over time to where you are in your life.
Yeah. Yep. Very good. Ryan or Brendan, anything you'd like to add?
The only thing I'd like to add what Andrea just said was, anybody that's really good at communicating, and I don't mean calling people on the phone, just communicating, getting back to people, answering questions. Those are the people we want, because so much of being a state director or being on a council is being willing to go out there and push the communications. And once you push it, you get the communications back.
Yeah.
You're not going to get it from everybody, but if you're putting it out there that you're willing to talk, all of a sudden paddlers open up. And they love talking paddling. They love talking about paddling issues. Once they know you're out there, you start getting people communicating, and that's where the connecting the dots comes from. And having that background and experience is helping us learn, teach other people how to do it and start connecting those dots. And hopefully we get a good group of them, which we do have a pretty good group going.
We got an awesome group.
We do have a good group. We have a very good group. And we're getting to the point where it's getting exciting. It's getting really exciting. So, yeah, we'll see where it goes, but it's only going up so far.
Okay. Fantastic. It looks like we have another question just came in, and this is about Whitewater Canoe ITs. This is probably more of a general ACA question versus a RAC, but question is, have we gotten any better as far as Whitewater Canoe ITs? My bunch has really struggled to find somebody nearby to certify some open boat instructors. I can
So,
go
what
ahead.
we can tell you there, without knowing where they're from, we need to know where they're at.
Chattanooga.
Yeah. Oh, that's Chattanooga. Well, we have people in that area that should have better answers than me on that.
Well,
yeah,
hey, Ryan, so I can speak to this a little bit because we get this question now and again over at our school.
I'm sure you do.
There's really not many whitewater canoe ITs nationally. This is something that Robin Pope and I have discussed as well. It's just a statement of fact. So we need more ITs out there. I got a question just in the last few weeks about somebody looking for a whitewater kayak IT. In fact, I think I've gotten 2 questions in the last couple months about this. There is one individual here in the Southeast that is a whitewater canoe IT, and gosh, I'm just blanking on his name right now, but we do have one. He's out of North Carolina. So yeah, the short answer is I can't speak to this nationally unless anybody else here has some insight into that, but I know that there's not a whole lot, and the solution is we just have to encourage whitewater canoeists to get more involved, because that's what it takes to become an instructor and then an IT. But because there's certainly there's not a whole lot of them nationally right now.
Yeah.
The ACA has struggled with this for years in certain IT groups, and yeah, that is one of them. You are correct. We have others also where we have a lack of ITs, and you're right. The only thing we can do is keep encouraging more people to go get those ITs, and that's all we can do.
Well, what I'll say, and because I don't want to step on SEIC's toes, I mean, they do a great job of trying to mentor this process and make sure that we're maintaining standards and all of the things. From an RAC perspective, what we can do is be a resource in the region. So where we have line of sight that there's a group of candidates that need to become certified as instructors, that there is a candidate who wants to become an IT, we can help connect those dots and provide critical mass to help fill a co-teach class or a lead teach class. It's not our place to design the process that is an SEIC process. But if we can help with line of sight on who wants to follow that path and needs to know where the pockets of candidates are, so that we can help you fill your co-teach, we can help you fill your lead teach, and we can help you be more successful and get to the goal of becoming an IT more expeditiously. That's where your state directors and regional chairs can be helpful. There's a number of IT candidates for various fields in my region that I've been able to help facilitate their process while meeting the needs of the folks, the paddlers that need training in the region, right? Because I just happen to have that line of communication from having opened up those lines of communication. So I have line of sight on where the critical mass of folks are, and I can connect them.
So the name of the IT, by the way, in North Carolina is Jordan Kincaid. Joseph, I don't know where. Andrew, did you say he's from Chattanooga?
Yeah, it was Mike from Chattanooga.
No, Mike. Okay. So yeah, that's the closest we have, and he may be the only one we have in the Southeast. There may be one other, but there's 1 or 2, and that's it. Okay. So any other questions out there? I think We've addressed the insurance question from Michael, the instructor contest. I think Ryan went into that. Are there any other questions out there?
Yeah, we'll give folks a minute, but we just thank everybody for tuning in. You know, have a little grace for your brand new. You're the youngest child among the three arms of the ACA, the three national activity councils. But anybody that wants to get involved, we'd love to have your help. We're doing some really awesome stuff. We've got a really strong group of leaders and a lot of vision, a lot of passion, hitting the ground running, and would love to have your help. Matthew, we have a question from Matthew. So generally speaking, a good first step to get involved would be contacting the regional rep. Absolutely. Absolutely. And I think Casey already put that website on there so that you'll know exactly who you should email.
Okay. Well, very good. Well, thank you to everybody who tuned in tonight. Thank you especially to our panel here, Ryan, Andrea, and Brendan, for taking some time to share their thoughts on the work that the RAC is doing. As we've discussed tonight, it's not a very old entity within the ACA, but it's doing a lot of good work. But this is member driven, so it takes people to volunteer and step up and represent the ACA. Because as the ACA or as the ACA makes a point to say, which is true, is we are the ACA. It's
That's
not
right.
just home office. We are the ACA. So it takes all of us to step up and volunteer our time to make a difference. So with that being said, thank you, everybody. Thank you, panel. And we're sign off now, and take care.
Have a nice evening, guys.